Preface and Chapter 1 of Religion and Science. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Read by Laurie and Walden. Religion and Science from Galileo to Bergson by Charlton Hardwick. Philosophy will always be hard, and what it promises, even in the end, is no clear theory nor any complete understanding or vision. But its certain reward is a continual evidence and a heightened apprehension of the ineffable mystery of life in all its complexity and all its unity and worth. F. H. Bradley, Essays in Truth and Reality, page 106. To My Father. Preface. The chapters which follow are not intended as even a slight sketch of the history of thought since the Renaissance. Their object is more modest, i.e., to illustrate the thesis that mankind, being incurably religious, insists, however hopeless the enterprise may sometimes seem, upon interpreting the universe spiritually. Thus it is quite natural that only a few typical names should find their places here, and often no sufficient reason may appear for one being included rather than another. For instance, in the 10th chapter, T. H. Green, F. H. Bradley, and A. J. Balfour are mentioned, while Martineau and the Cairds are passed over. Needless to say, there was no doctrinal prejudice here. Again, in the 4th chapter, Pascal is dealt with at some length, but Boehme, an equally important thinker, is ignored, and so on. I should like to acknowledge here my obligation to Dr. Mercer, Canon of Chester, for his advice upon books, especially with regard to material for the final chapters. Also to the Rev. H. D. A. Major, Principal of Ripon Hall, for suggestions about the general plan of the book, and to the Rev. E. Harvey, a mathematical graduate of Trinity College, Dublin, at present studying medicine, for valuable information about the present position of psychic research. J. C. H. Altrincham, March 23, 1920. Chapter 1. Introductory, Religion and Science. Numerous attempts to define religion have made it evident that religion is indefinable. We may, however, say this much about it, that religion is an attitude towards life, a way of looking at existence. It is true that this definition is too wide, and includes things which are not religion. There are certain attitudes to life which are definitely anti-religious, that of the materialist, for instance. However, it will serve a purpose, and we can improve upon it as we proceed. It is a mistake to put too much faith in definitions. At any rate, it is better to have our definitions, if have them we must, too wide than too narrow. Science is, fortunately, much easier to define. Accurate and systematic knowledge is what we mean by science. Knowledge about anything, provided that the facts are, so far as possible, accurately described and systematically classified. Professor Carl Pearson, the highest authority on the principles of scientific method and theory, writes, "The man who classifies facts of any kind whatever, who sees their mutual relation and describes their sequences, is applying the scientific method and is a man of science. The facts may belong to the past history of mankind, to the social statistics of our great cities, to the atmosphere of the most distant stars, to the digestive organs of a worm, or to the life of a scarcely visible bacillus. It is not facts themselves which make science, but the method by which they are dealt with. The material of science is co-extensive with the whole physical universe, not only that universe as it now exists, but with its past history, and the past history of all life therein. When every fact, every present or past phenomenon of that universe, every phase of present or past life therein, has been classified and coordinated with the rest, then the mission of science will be completed. Science, then, is systematic and accurate knowledge, and when we have systematic and accurate knowledge about everything there is to be known, the program of science will be complete. This is only to say that the task it has set itself is one that will never end. So much, then, for our definitions. Religion is an attitude to life. Science is systematic and accurate knowledge. How does the one affect the other? What are the relations between the two? That is the topic which will occupy our attention during the chapters that follow. To answer the question properly will involve a certain
Sample complete. Ready to continue?